Good morning, dear students. Today I am present with the first chapter of your book Vistas, the third level. Through my live class, I tried my best to explain to you the very keynote of this lesson. The surface meaning of the lesson was explained to you all by me through my live class. Today I am going to explain the lesson to you line by line. Hope that you will be able to understand it well. Your full concentration is required in order to understand this lesson properly. The third level is nothing. It's just a kind of wish fulfillment. It's just a kind of imagination. In fact, at the Grand Central Station of USA, there used to exist two levels. Levels you will understand as the platform of, railway stations where you can catch the train. The third level did not exist at all. But the narrator of the story reaches the third level in the world of imagination. And his imagination turns into a kind of assurance. He starts feeling it is as a matter of fact in his life. So that's how we are going to proceed with the story. There is a question given here in the very beginning. Have you ever had any curious experience which others find hard to believe? It means in our life there are some experiences which others don't come to believe. And whether it's our confusion, imagination, or whether it is something really unusual which happens with us, others don't come to believe it. An example can be taken. By the way, somewhere you were passing through the way and you felt somebody coming from the backside, and you also felt that the person touched you. And when you broke this matter to somebody else regarding ghost or any other thing, others do not come to believe it. But you have an imprint of that event in your mind, and you keep on trying to justify it as fact, but nobody believes it. So such kind of things happen here. Here there is no ghost story like thing or any other thing. I just exemplified a thing in order to explain to you that there are some unusual kind of things which happen with some people, but others don't come to believe it, don't like to accept that as a fact. Now let's come to understand it. The presidents of the New York Central and the New Haven and Hartford railroads will swear on a stack of timetables that there are only two levels. The narrator, whose name is Charlie, who is a young person of some 31 years, Charlie says that even the president of New York Central Railway Station, even the president of the New York, New Haven and Hartford railroads, even they will say very factfully, taking as a proof the timetables of different types of railway stations. They will also assure that there are only two levels, there is no third level. Try to understand it. The president of the New York Central and the New York, New Haven and Hartford railroads will swear on a stack of timetables. It means if all the timetables of these railroads may be brought by the presidents of these railroads, it will be stated by them that there are only two levels. There is no third level. But I say there are three, because I have been on the third level of the Grand Central Station. Charlie tells us here, nobody in the world could believe there were three levels, but he came to feel that there were three levels. Where were the three levels? These three levels were at Grand Central Station. Yes, I have taken the obvious step. I talked to a psychiatrist friend of mine, among others. I told him about the third level at Grand Central Station, and he said it was a waking dream wish fulfillment. He said I was unhappy. Narrator tells us here he had been to the third level. He had visited the third level. And once he broke this matter to one of his close friends, who was a psychiatrist, who was a specialist in reading the mentality and mental problem of people. That psychiatrist friend listened to him when he told him about the third level he had visited, and the psychiatrist friend's report was that he was unhappy, that's why he was feeling like that. It was nothing but a dream. It was nothing but a daydream. It is just a kind of wish fulfillment. A person fulfills his wish according to his imagination, nothing else. It means Charlie's friend, who was a psychiatrist, who was a doctor, we can say, he also did not believe in the third level. Now, that made my wife kind of mad, but he explained that he meant the modern world is full of insecurity, fear, war, worry and all the rest of it, and that I just want to escape. Now you see, That made my wife kind of mad. The narrator Charlie tells us here, this matter also troubled his wife. But a friend, Charlie's friend, who was a psychiatrist. Later on, his name is disclosed by the narrator. His name is Sam. Charlie's friend explained in detail that the world in modern time is full of insecurity. It is full of the systems of war, fear, and many other depressing things are there in the society, in the world. That is why people want to escape from the real world. It means Charlie was explained by his friend Sam, a psychiatrist, that the people in the world in modern time are suffering from various kinds of hurdles, problems, disturbances. There are depressions, there are disappointments. The people are feeling insecure. That's why they want to escape from the world. Escape from the world means they live in the world of imagination. They keep on, imagining something better. That's why they have interest in movies. That's why they have interest in stunts. That's why they have interest in adventurous stories. Because realities never give them happiness, and they want to become happy in the world of fantasy. Well, who doesn't? Everybody I know wants to escape, but they don't wander down into any third level at Grand Central Station. The narrator is thinking here, by the way, every person in the world is fanciful. Almost every person in the world is imaginative. He is thinking of some kind of dream. Every person is living in some kind of fantasy. But every person does not reach physically to the third level of Grand Central Station. Narrator was never ready to believe in the theory explained by his friend Sam. Narrator just wanted to know the reason behind the fact how he reached the third level of Grand Central Railway Station. Now you see, I would like to again clarify to you, it was just a kind of daydream of the narrator. He had never visited the third level. The third level never existed. But his assumption was so much strong. His self-assurance was so much strong on the basis of that imagination only, that he came to feel that his imagination was no longer an imagination. It was just a kind of reality. But that's the reason he said, and my friends all agreed. Everything points to it, they claimed. Now you see. Even after the narrator forcefully said to his psychiatrist friend Sam that he had visited the third level of the railway station, the doctor friend Sam, psychiatrist, was never ready to believe it. He explained every reason. He just explained to the narrator that it was the feeling of insecurity, fear, war, depression, disappointment only that made him feel like that. He wanted to escape from the real world. Rest of the friends of narrator also supported Sam only, the psychiatrist friend only. My stamp collecting, for example, that's a temporary refuge from reality. Well, maybe, but my grandfather did not need any refuge from reality. Things were pretty nice and peaceful in his days, from all I hear, and he started my collection. Now, narrator Charlie came to feel, in fact, he was a philatelist. He used to collect stamps. Stamps means tickets. The philatelist collect rare tickets. I'm talking about post office tickets, etc. So they are in the habit of collecting rare tickets, and they present it into different kinds of exhibitions at different places. People also purchase those tickets at very high cost. There is also auction of old tickets related to very old kings, queens, revolutionaries, like that. So narrator Charlie thinks here that stamp collecting may also be a kind of temporary refuge. It means if a person collects the stamp of past days, old times, so it means the person does not want to feel free, or he does not at all feel happy in present time. That's why he collects the past time tickets. So that may be a kind of temporary refuge from reality means that may be a kind of temporary shifting from reality, that the man does not want to live in the real world. That's why he collects the things of the past time, and he goes with his memory in the past. His body is present in the present time, but his memory is there in the past. Now you see, another logic of the narrator was there. By the way, it was a temporary refuge for him because he was a boy of modern world. So what was the necessity of such kind of temporary refuge in the time of his grandfather? because his grandfather had started the profession of stamp collecting. And those days, when his grandfather was alive, his family situation was quite well. They were well-to-do, rich people. They had nothing like that. And his grandfather had no depression, disappointment, fear, no war-like situations, no insecurities. Why was he doing stamp collecting? Stamp collection. It's a nice collection too. Blocks of 4 of practically every US issue, first day covers and so on. Now, collecting stamps is a good thing. It's a nice thing according to narrator. Blocks of 4 of practically every issue, US issue. It means blocks of 4 of practically every US issue. Tickets used to be issued on every US issue, every United States big problem or big agendum. First day covers. First day covers are those envelopes which are launched for the first time and nothing is written inside them. They are, blank envelopes are sent from one place to another. President Roosevelt collected stamps too, you know. An example Charlie expresses here that President Roosevelt, one of the presidents of America, he was also a philatelist. He also collected stamps. Anyway, here is what happened at Grand Central. One night last summer, I worked late at the office. I was in a hurry to get uptown to my apartment, so I decided to take the subway from Grand Central because it's faster than the bus. Now the narrator comes to the real story, the thing which happened with him, how he reached the 3rd level. Now you see, it was night time in the previous summer and the narrator worked late at his office. Worked late at his office, it means he kept on working late. And then what happened? I was in a hurry to get uptown to my apartment, so I decided to take the subway from Grand Central because it's faster than the bus. According to Charlie, reaching his home would take more time by the bus. That's why he took the subway through the Grand Central station in order to reach his home faster than bus. Now I don't know why this should have happened to me. I am just an ordinary guy named Charlie, 31 years old, and I was wearing a tan gabardine suit. Gabardine is a type of fabric. It's kind of textile. The narrator was wearing a tan gabardine suit, almost black suit he was wearing, and a straw hat with a fancy band. He was also wearing a straw hat. A hat having furs is called F-U-R-S. Furs is called a straw hat. He was wearing a straw hat with a fancy band over the hat. Now you see, I passed a dozen men who looked just like me. Now the narrator explains in such a way as if he were lost in some other kind of world. He passed some dozen people, around 12 people who were looking like him only. I wasn't trying to escape from anything. Now the narrator again tells us here, he was in complete senses and he was never trying to escape from anything. I just wanted to get home to Louisa, my wife. The mission, the target of the narrator was to reach his home, his town apartment where his wife Louisa was waiting for him. I turned into Grand Central from Vanderbilt Avenue and went down to the steps to the 1st level where you take trains like the 20th century. Now you see, the narrator turned to the Grand Central from Vanderbilt Avenue. Vanderbilt Avenue should have been some kind of chowk, chowraha, etc. and went down the steps to the 1st level. He reached the 1st level of Grand Central Station, where you take trains like the 20th century. At the 1st level or 1st platform, you can say, 20th century type of trains can be caught from there. Then I walked down another flight to the 2nd level where the suburban trains leave from, ducked into an arched doorway heading for the subway and got lost. From the 1st level, the narrator reached the 2nd level. At the 2nd level, suburban type of trains could be caught. Suburban type of trains means trains which leave the main city and reach the local cities adjoining the main city. Now see, from the 2nd level, the narrator Charlie, who was a 31-year-old businessman, Charlie got lost from the 2nd level. How he got lost? He tells us here. That's easy to do. I have been in and out of Grand Central hundreds of times, but I'm always bumping into the new doorways and stairs and corridors. Narrator tells us about his experiences that he had visited Grand Central Station hundreds of times, and many a time it happened with him that he did not find the right way, but anyhow he came out of the way through the stairs through the corridors, through the passages, galleries, and finally he reached somewhere out of the Grand Central Station. Once upon a time, what happened? Once I got into a tunnel about a mile long and came out of the lobby of the Roosevelt Hotel. Once upon a time, it had happened with Charlie that he had got lost at Grand Central Station and he had entered a tunnel, an underground way. And this underground way was almost a mile long, more than 1.5 kilometers long. And he had finally come into the auditorium or hall, you can say, lobby of the Roosevelt Hotel. Another time I came up in an office building on 46th Street. 46th Street is the name of a street. And one more time he had got lost at Grand Central Station and he had come to 46th Street, 3 blocks away. Sometimes I think Grand Central is growing like a tree, pushing out new corridors and staircases like roots. Charlie's experience at the Grand Central Station was quite stupendous. It was quite different. Sometimes he used to feel that the Grand Central Station was just like a tree and it had many passages, many staircases which came out of it just like leaves and branches of a big tree. There is probably a long tunnel that nobody knows about feeling its way under the city right now, on its way to Times Square and maybe another to Central Park. Charlie is confused and doubtful about various kinds of tunnels which are linked with Grand Central Station. It's his imagination, it's his doubt that maybe there are some tunnels, some linked underground passage, underground roads which link Grand Central Station to Times Square. Times Square is also a place. Or maybe there is another one to the Central Park. And maybe because for so many people through the years Grand Central has been an exit, a way of escape. Maybe that's how the tunnel I got into. But I never told my psychiatrist friend about that idea. Finally, Charlie started thinking that maybe the Grand Central Station is a kind of a way of escape for the people of the world. Maybe the people from US who wanted to be lost, who wanted to escape from the real world, who wanted to escape from the crowd, who wanted to escape from the present situation, they used to be lost in Grand Central Station and they used to come after some hours or some days. The corridor I was in began angling left and slanting downward, and I thought that was wrong. Now the narrator was passing through a passage. Charlie tells us here, it's not reality, I again tell you. It's just an imagination of him. The corridor, the passage which he was passing through, it started angling left. It means it started turning left and slanting downwards. And now the narrator was also going underground. I thought that was wrong. The narrator Charlie started feeling perhaps it was a wrong way he had taken. But I kept on walking. All I could hear was the empty sound of my own footsteps and I did not pass a soul. There was nobody else except Charlie there while he was passing through this unknown way. Then I heard that sort of hollow roar ahead that means open space and people talking. But a little later he came to feel that ahead him, at a quite short distance, some people were talking. And they were talking from a lobby. They were laughing from there. The tunnel turned sharp left. There was a sharp left turn. I went down a short flight of stairs. There was also a short flight of stairs. There was a downstairs. And came out on the 3rd level at Grand Central Station. And finally Charlie reached the 3rd level at Grand Central Station. For just a moment I thought I was back on the 2nd level, but I saw the room was smaller, there were fewer ticket windows and train gates, and the information booth in the center was wood and old looking. For a few seconds Charlie was confused about it, whether he was at the 2nd level, but no, it was really the 3rd level. How did he come to know it? In fact, the furniture, the ticket window, the train gates, information center, everything was different. In the center was wood and old looking. Everything in the center which was made there, it was made of wood and old looking. And the man in the booth wore a green eye shade and long black sleeve protectors. The man who was sitting there in the ticket counter, that person was having green eye shade and he was wearing shirts having quite long sleeves which protect the complete arms. The lights were dim and sort of flickering. Lights were also not available there properly. They were flickering. Then I saw why. They were open flame gas lights. Then Charlie came to see these lights were not the lights of electric bulb. These lights were the lights of gas light. There were brass spittoons on the floor. Spittoons are those boxes in which people spit their saliva. So there were brass spittoons on the floor, and across the station a glint of light caught my eye. A man was pulling a gold watch from his vest pocket. Now, people were of different time then. A person was there, he was having a gold watch, and this gold watch he was taking out of his loose pocket. He snapped open the cover, glanced at his watch and frowned. This man opened the gold watch, looked at it. After that he started looking at Charlie, and not looking, he started staring Charlie. He wore a derby hat. Derby is an American fashionable hat. A black 4-button suit with tiny lapels. This man was wearing a suit having some 4 buttons, and he had a big black handlebar mustache. This mustache is a type of fashionable mustache. I can't explain to you what is handlebar mustache because it requires a figure. Then I looked around and saw that everyone in the station was dressed like 1890 something. Then the narrator had some kind of doubt whether he was in the present world in which he lived or some other world. Then he saw that all the people all around him were dressed like a person of 1890. I never saw so many beards, sideburns, fancy mustaches in my life. He saw that all the people around him were having long beards. They had mustaches. A woman walked in through the train gate. She wore a dress with leg of mutton sleeves and skirts to the top of her high buttoned shoes. He again saw that a woman, she was not at all modern American woman. She was wearing complete dress. And she was also wearing high buttoned shoes, and above her, touching her high buttoned shoes, she was also wearing a dress which came up to her shoes. Such a long dress she was wearing. Her skirt came up to her shoes. Her hands were well protected with long sleeves. While girls in modern America, they did not wear dresses like those. They were wearing short dresses. The narrator was very much surprised to see it. Back of her, out on the tracks, I caught a glimpse of a locomotive. Back of that lady, out on the track, on the railway track, I caught a glimpse of a locomotive. The narrator also saw a locomotive, a rail engine, a very small Currier and Ives locomotive with a funnel-shaped stack. He saw this rail engine, this locomotive. It had a funnel-shaped stack. It means backside the locomotive in the compartment there was a stock of some documents, and this stock was kept there just like the shape of funnel. Funnel is that इसको आप कीप बोलते हैं, कुप्पी जिसको बोलते हैं तेल वगैरह डालने के लिए, that's called funnel. Now, and then I knew means then Charlie came to believe that he was not in the world which he was supposed to be. So dear students, thank you for today. This much only. Remaining things I will present in my next lecture. Okay, thank you very much.